Welcome back to Living Local. According to the CDC, about 610,000 people die of heart disease in the United States every year. That's 1 in every 4 deaths. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, and smoking are key risk factors for heart disease. And about half of Americans, 47%, have at least one of these 3 risk factors. A cholesterol screen with a registered dietitian can identify these potential risk factors for chronic diseases and conditions and get professional advice on ways to improve your diet to combat these issues. Joining me in studio is Katie Schaeffer, Hy-Vee registered dietitian. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So Hy-Vee is doing a free biometric screening. Yep. So who is eligible for this?
Everybody is eligible. You don't have to have health insurance. It costs $0. You don't even have to hear about it beforehand. You can just walk into the store, see that it's happening. Anybody is welcome. We hope they come.
So no registration, you can just show
up. No registration, yep. It's just walk-ins. First come, first serve, so you don't even have to call ahead. You just need to know when to be there.
Great. So when should people be there?
So it's going to be at a different store in the Quad Cities each day. So it actually starts this week on February 6th, and then it's going to go through February 14th. It's actually at my store on February 14th, Valentine's Day. So it's from 7 to 11 in the morning. The reason it's so early is because it is a fasting test.
Got it.
If you end up showing up and you have eaten something, no big deal. You can still get the test done. Your numbers just won't be as accurate. So we do advise a 12-hour fast. So avoid that coffee, nothing but water. But the easiest way to figure out when it's going to be at each store is just by calling that Hy-Vee store, whichever one you usually go in, or if you're shopping before then, you can always just pop in and ask, and people should know there. So.
And Katie, what does a cholesterol screening involve? Walk me through what it's like.
So I brought some of the tools here, so if you see them on TV, maybe they're a little less intimidating than what you think in your head. So all a cholesterol screening is, it's a little finger poke. We don't do anything out of the arm. It's just a finger poke. And then we run it in this handy dandy machine here. And then by the end of it, it takes about 15 minutes. You know your total cholesterol, your LDL, which is your bad cholesterol, your HDL, which is the good, triglycerides, and your blood sugars. And then while that is running in there, we also get your body fat. This is kind of a little body fat sheet machine. Your BMI, we take your blood pressure, we do your waist and your hip circumference, and then we get your height and your weight.
Wow, so you're doing all of this. Okay.
And it's fast. I mean, it only takes 15 minutes. You get a very comprehensive test done.
Katie, why is it so important for people to know these numbers?
It's really important because, like you said in the beginning, so many people go just naive. They don't know that their cholesterol is high, or they don't know that they're living with elevated blood pressure, and that can cause big problems in the future. So elevated cholesterol can cause blockages in the arteries, which can lead to heart attack. If you live with untreated elevated blood pressure for short or long periods of time, that can lead to heart disease, stroke, heart attack. So there are simple ways to kind of help combat those things, but if you don't know you have them, then you don't know that you need to combat them.
Exactly.
So,
Let's say someone goes to the screening and they come with high blood pressure.
Sure.
So what are some dietary changes that they can make to reduce their blood pressure?
Sure. So a big benefit of these screenings, like you said, when they come, obviously a registered dietitian's doing this. So if they need advice, they've got a professional right there kind of giving them the advice. So say they come and they have high blood pressure. Common dietary changes for that is going to be reducing your sodium intake. I say that to a lot of people and they'll be like, oh, well, I don't put salt on my food, and it's like it hides everywhere. So just being conscious of that, picking things that say no salt added, choosing no salt seasonings, just looking for big triggers like frozen food, canned soup, things like that. And then obviously things that are fresh, like fruits and vegetables, meats that haven't been processed, things like that are always going to be low sodium. Another thing is increasing your potassium intake.
I've heard of this before, and I didn't know this until recently. How does potassium and sodium play together for blood pressure?
So potassium, sodium, and magnesium kind of form this little triangle, and if any one of them is out of whack, then it can kind of wreak havoc on your blood pressure. So usually, most people get a decent amount of potassium. Potassium's in a lot of fruit and vegetables, so if you're eating a wide variety, you're probably okay. But if your potassium's low and your sodium's high, then then you're having some issues with your heart. So good sources of potassium: bananas, everyone seems to always know that one. Tomatoes is a really big one. Potatoes is a good one. And like I said, lots of fruit and vegetables contain at least a small amount of them.
And what about magnesium? It's kind of the other part of the triangle.
Yep.
Where can you find magnesium?
Magnesium is in a lot of different things too. It's not usually in giant amounts. But again, if you're eating just a well-balanced diet, usually you're okay on the potassium and the magnesium. Americans just in general, we get a lot of salt. So watching that one is the biggest thing. And then other things that affect blood pressure, not necessarily diet-wise, but making sure you're being active, getting enough water in, that's a big one. Make sure it's water and not coffee or tea or pop or things like that. And then reducing your stress as much as you can and getting enough sleep. So lots of things.
Perfect. So we've talked about the high blood pressure. What about high cholesterol?
So cholesterol, that is a big one with heart health, obviously. So cholesterol, the biggest dietary thing is increasing the amount of fiber you eat in your diet. Lots of people think they have to look for the amount of cholesterol on a food label. There's actually a lot of studies out that show that that doesn't affect your blood pressure or blood cholesterol as much as eating fiber and things like that. So things that have fiber in it are usually fruits and vegetables, like with the seeds, with the skin on, whole grains, nuts and seeds. So I brought some things here. Walnuts and almonds are kind of touted as like the big guns when it comes to heart healthy nuts. So those ones have really good cholesterol lowering components. Quaker oats, oatmeal is a fantastic fiber protein source. Again, quinoa, chia seeds, nuts and seeds. Another thing you can look for, and there aren't a ton of products out like it, but things that have what's called plant sterols and stanols in it. You don't have to memorize that. But that does also help lower cholesterol. It comes from fruits and vegetables, but they infuse it in things like orange juice, margarine, stuff like that. And then heart healthy fish like salmon and things like that help too.
Great to know. Okay, last question for you, Katie. You also mentioned during the screening people get their BMI and their body fat percentage checked. Okay, so what if those are a little out of whack? Your BMI is high or your body fat percentage is too high. How can they work with a registered dietitian to bring those numbers down to a healthy range?
Sure. So Hy-Vee dietitians, we have a lot of different resources to help people if they need to lose weight. Sometimes people come and they need to gain weight. So we do free nutrition tours every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have consultations. We can set up different appointments with people just to kind of guide them on the right path. No crazy dieting or anything like that, just a general healthy diet that gets them back to the range they should be, which is nice. These screenings are great because it can show you all sorts of different risk factors that you might not have known you had, and then we can help you out with them.
Katie, thank you so much. Great information.
Thank you.
All right, for more information on cholesterol screenings or other health screenings, you can go to Hy-Vee.com. We'll have more details posted on OurQuadCities.com. More Living Local is coming up.